From the EQC studio, welcome to the Top Step with Rowland-Smith.
How are we going, mates? Welcome back to another episode of the Top Step. It's Rowland-Smith. We are inside the EQC studios. I am, my mate is as well, and we're about to be joined very soon by none other than Bryce Miller. He is off to such a good start. I cannot wait to dive in with Bryce Miller. We also have our How to Speak Australian segment. You know what? That's at the end of the show, but I might actually get Bryce to participate. He can participate just like you can if you head over to social media and you check it out. How to Speak Australian. You're going to learn exactly how to speak, just like I do and just like old mate over here does as well. We have got a great one for you this week. We're going to kick it off with the top trends. All right, the top trends this week. We're going to hand out some awards for the month of April. I just have to, right? You got to look back. It's not too early to start handing out awards. Some guys that I want to give a little bit of recognition to, and especially to, look, this team, we talk about what's trending up, what's trending down. This team is trending up. I know the offense was a bit rocky in the month of April, but man, a couple big games on this last road trip. The starting pitching has been the foundation. It's been dominant. We've been talking about them so much. But the offense is starting to get going. Now, I want to hand out some awards and give some recognition to some guys that maybe I'm guilty of it, just haven't given enough recognition to in the past. So this is how it's going to go. My first award is the Hustle Award, and this goes to Josh Rojas. My man, the month of April, he just went off. He hit 293. He was so good on the bases in the month of April. And the reason I'm giving him the Hustle Award is because J.P. Crawford went down with an injury, and you need to fill that spot. Someone who can lead off. He's done it before, but Josh Rojas was put right in that spot, and he just absolutely went off. It's so good, and he's still trending upwards as we get into the month of May. Okay, let's move on to the Unsung Hero Award. My boys down in the bullpen never get enough love. They need some. Look, I get it. The starting rotation has been absolutely dominant, but you don't go 15-10 coming out of the month of April after that rocky start if the bullpen can't shut it down. So my two unsung heroes, again, I'm guilty not giving these two guys enough love. This was a toss-up. I am going to steer towards one. It's Trent Thornton. He had a .9 ERA in the month of April. And it's Gabe Spire. He had a .96. Two fellas absolutely dominating. But I do have to steer towards Gabe Spire, and here's why. The inherited runs. The guy gave up 16% inherited runs scored, meaning anyone left on base when he comes into a ball game, only 16% have scored in the month of April. That is that big unsung hero award you're going to get. Thank you to the inherited runs. I'm telling you, when you're a starting pitcher and you leave some good dudes on, I remember there was 2009, I was having a good year. Every time I left runners on base, someone was giving them up. Finally, towards the end of the year, they cleaned it up. It is the best. You just want to give that guy a massive hug, not just a high five. Now, before we get into my MVP, this is going to be my prediction for the guy who's going to bust out, have a huge month of May. We're going to be talking about him, handing out an award for him at the end of the month, and that is Julio Rodriguez. Look, the month of April, the 267, he started to pick it up towards the end. The slugging just wasn't there. The slugging was down in the 300s, just the one home run. We all know about that, but a couple reasons why I'm seeing him bust out in the month of May. The exit velo has not gone down at all, man. You cannot keep a dude like that off the bases and out of the extra base hit column when the exit velo is way above Major League average. The other thing I'm liking to, the swing and miss is down. He went from 32% month of April, now it's down to 26%. That is massive. If you want to hear more about the breakdown with Julio Rodriguez, Ryan Divish from the Seattle Times joins me over on the YouTube side. If you go to YouTube, you can see all the extra content. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's at the Top Step TV. Go check it out. Ryan has a great breakdown. It's something he sees with his swing, so go check that out. But let's get to my MVP. Now, he comes from the starting rotation. The rotation has just been absolutely dominant, the entire pitching staff. But I want to show you this number real quick. Now, this stat is brought to you by ilovebaseball.org. If you go to www.ilovebaseball.org, you can see the amazing things they're doing for some of these young Dominican players. You can sponsor a player for $39 a month. But check out this run. 19 game span, a 1.58 ERA. You look at some of the years. The closest to that was the Cleveland Guardians when you're looking at 2017. The Mariners 2024. This has been the foundation of the Mariners busting out at the month of April, hovering around first place. And my guy, the MVP of the Seattle Mariners in the month of April. It's got to be Bryce Miller. Absolutely dominated. A 1.19 ERA. Opponents hit 127. The velocity is good. Now, remember in episode 1, we talked about what Bryce Miller had to do to get off to a good start. The lefties last year were hitting 300. This year, they're hitting 128. And the big reason, because we talked about it, was the fact that split has to be good. That was a new pitch. We didn't know what to expect against that pitch. Opponents hitting 147 overall, but dominating the lefties is just giving him a whole bunch of confidence. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear from the man himself. Bryce Miller is going to join me right here on the top step right after the break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I live in Tacoma, and I'm all about the action. From making a run at the tables to multiple pay lines on my favorite machines. Game time. The sportsbook is better than being on the 50-yard line or sitting courtside. And I'm here for it. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
All right, it is a good time to be a starting pitcher in this Mariners rotation. A big reason why is my next guest joining me in the EQC studios, Bryce Miller. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it, man. I've been wanting to have a chat with you for a while. We've talked a little bit, but man, it's been fun to watch since you got to the big leagues. That is for sure. But right now, early on here in 2024, I know winning helps, but from a starting pitcher standpoint, how much fun are you guys having, you and some of your rotation mates?
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun. It's obviously a lot more fun when you're having success, and the whole staff has had a lot of success so far. So we've had a lot of fun, and it's been fun watching other guys go out and pitch, and it's been fun, whenever I'm on the mound also.
It was a little shaky coming out of the gates, though, right, in spring training, because you guys had so much hype and so much expectation. And, you are still like a young rotation. I get it, man. Like George Kirby made the All-Star team last year. He's a stud. I get it. Luis Castillo. Logan's had a couple really good years, but he's starting to have a true breakout year. But then you've got yourself, then Emerson Hancock's filled in now for Brian Wu. Maybe he's coming back. But, man, it is a ton of expectations. You're such a young staff, right? Did you feel that coming out of spring training at all?
Yeah, I mean, we in spring we knew we were going to be good, and we knew we were going to be able to throw it. So I think it was expectations, but we expected it out of ourselves too. So it's kind of like the standard on how we knew we were going to be. And then we also knew the bullpen was going to be really good too. Coming off of last year with the additions that we made, we knew we were going to have a chance to be in every game.
Well, you guys, especially the first week or so, you're looking around going, hey, what's kind of going on? It's a little shaky out of the gates. Was there any ever those conversations? I know, for me, it was always during batting practice. You're standing out there, with 2 or 3 dudes, and you start, looking around going, what's going on, man? What is happening? Especially, Scott Service talked about that too. Going into that first road trip, and the trip where did you guys go? You guys went somewhere, then you went to Toronto. I'm trying to remember where you guys went. First roadie. Where was that?
Yeah, I think Milwaukee.
That's right, Milwaukee. Yeah, that's right. And he talked about kind of clicking as a team and teammates and stuff, because it's not the same in spring training, right? I mean, you go in, you're getting there early. Everyone's kind of on their own program essentially, but then you're on the bus together, you're on that plane together, and so things start to change. But that first road trip, if you can remember, was there a little bit of those conversations happening during batting practice with you guys, trying to figure out what the issues were, coming out of the gates?
I don't really think so. I mean, I think we didn't start out hot, and we didn't start how we wanted to, but we didn't ever really hit any panic buttons or anything. It was we were below 500, but we were 10 or 15 games in, or even less than that. So it's obviously you want to win every game, but just knowing that there's 162 games, it's going to come around, and with the talent that we have, we knew it would happen. So it was kind of just trusting the process, and we didn't, maybe we thought we had an extra week of spring training or something, and We just didn't. It started out slow, so
Right.
but it came around.
Hey, last week I had to throw this out there, and I kind of waited for the Braves series to throw it out there. And I'm sure you're well aware, man. You don't have to be a Braves fan, but back when I was a kid, late '90s, when I was coming up, it was Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox, right? That were the three in that Braves rotation. It's kind of like legendary. So I had to put it out there. I said, hey, I put this tweet out there, and I got some mixed reviews from Mariner fans, and then some Braves fans chimed in, and it tore it up a little bit in the comments section for sure. But I said, since we were playing the Braves, could this Mariners, and it was '90s night, by the way. But the tweet was, could this Mariners rotation be as good or better as Smoltz, Maddox, and Glavine back in the day? As are we witnessing a similar era of greatness? Now, I'm not putting these expectations on your shoulders. I know you're sitting in front of me. You're going to sit there and make comments. But I'm not going to ask you if you guys compare yourselves to that. I'm not even going to go there. But I did talk to John Smoltz just the other day. I was doing some radio, and he was a guest. And I'm like, I'm just going to bring it up to him. And he had a great answer to he wasn't like, oh, well, hey, talk to me in a decade or any of this kind of stuff. It wasn't like that whatsoever. But John Smoltz, he made a great point. And he said the reason that rotation functioned the way it did, and the reason there was that competition, is because there's no egos involved. And he said that if you're in a situation where you have some egos involved, when you have 3 guys dealing, or even 5 guys or 4, whatever, and you have some ego involved, man, it makes it really tough. And that's where that dysfunction comes in when you're talking about some of the competitiveness. So I want to ask you, we're talking about this rotation in regards to that healthy competition. Do you feel that healthy competition with these guys around you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's whenever... like we had the 21 game streak of two runs or less. Like it was, it's a lot of fun, and it's like every day you watch somebody go out and compete and go 6 or 7 innings, and then your time comes around, and you're like, well, I've seen the other guys have done it for the last 20 starts, so you got to keep it rolling. Right. And you just kind of feed off of each other, and I think for me, you look back to the first start of the year, I wasn't attacking the zone like how I did last year, and I wasn't getting ahead of batters like I want to. Yeah. And after, obviously I'm trying to do that, but it just reinforces it after I don't do it, and then I watch 4 guys do it after me, and then I'm like, all right, that's all I need to do is just attack and get ahead and put myself in good counts, and things work out. And so it's a lot of fun. Like I said, watching those other guys, and then getting out there and competing myself. Every day we know we're going to be in the game.
Is there someone in that rotation who, you mentioned that first start, not attacking the zone? Is there a Logan Gilbert who kind of pulls you aside, and not to say, hey, you need to start attacking the zone, but kind of pulls you up on it, or has that conversation, something he sees, or any of that kind of stuff?
Not really. I mean, after our first series, we kind of had it was after one of, I think maybe Castillo's bullpen or something, because all the starters go out and watch the other bullpens and stuff, and we kind of had a little talk with all of us that were out there, and with Woody, and just kind of well, what was our takeaways from the first series. And then I was like, well, pointed at me and Castillo, I'm like, the 2 that didn't get ahead and didn't attack the zone like we're supposed to had the 2 worst games of the first series. So it's definitely correlated. But that was the only talk we had. But anytime I have any questions, or if any of us see anything with the other one, none of us are afraid to go up and tell the other, whoever it is, what we see, because we all know that we all have valuable information that we can help each other with.
Is that even a situation are you walking up to Luis Castillo even? I mean, I know you came up last year. You guys seem to be buddies. I see you BSing on the top step of the dugout for sure. But even with him, are you comfortable enough to walk up to Luis Castillo and be like, hey man, listen, this is what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
wow,
it doesn't happen often. He's great, but there wouldn't be any issue there. He's open to anything as well, and really laid back, and he'll help anybody out, and he's definitely one that would take some help as well if he needed it.
Step with Rowland-Smith is presented by EQC, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
You know what, man? I was doing an Apple game. You were pitching against the Royals. Would have been, I don't know, what, August maybe? I don't know, maybe August last year. And they came in, and MLB Network people come in who were producing the Apple game, and they're awesome, man. They work so hard on just getting all the everything ready to research for the game, and they were so hell bent on profiling your fastball at the top of the strike zone, because you mentioned it, right? You were like 90% fastballs, but literally like the week or so prior to that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you all of a sudden start. It wasn't where you were. I don't think you were throwing the two-seamer at that point. I don't know. Were you throwing the two-seamer at that point?
I'm not sure. I added it at the end of last year, but I'm not sure if I had it for the Royals.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. But your pitch usage completely changed, like a good couple starts before that. And I said to him, like, I went into the truck and they're like, hey, these are the graphics we're going to use for Bryce Miller. And I said, that's great. But, I was talking to Woody about this. He's made these massive adjustments. Like, can we talk more about how adaptable this dude is? Because he's a rookie right now and you just don't see that. Usually a situation happens where you come in and you just got this electric fastball. We all knew that. I was crapping on about it every single day. And then all of a sudden, the leagues, so they get a book on you and they start cheating a little bit more. And then you start adapting to that and start switching up what you're doing. So in the minor leagues, you literally pitch them once a week, right? I mean, you go on, once every 7 days. Then all of a sudden you transition into, it's like literally every fifth day. And if you're doing well, you're getting pushed harder in that last 20 pitches of your outing. Right, so that was that big adjustment, right? Coming to the big leagues and that adrenaline pumping through you and going, and you were pretty transparent about it. I remember you made some comments saying that it is a huge adjustment trying to stay 100% every fifth day, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I remember last year, like at the end of the year, I was getting up there in innings, and I was at a point, like especially at the end of the year last year, where I was over my career high in innings. And one of the things I was struggling with was like being able to hold velo like past the 70 pitch mark, especially since I was throwing so many fastballs. Like my velo needed to be, still 95, in the 80-90 pitch range. And when I didn't have other pitches to fall back to, like when the velo dipped, then I would get in trouble. And so it was, making the adjustment of, keeping my body ready for the 5 days, and also in a spot where I'd never been, at around 150 innings total on the year. Yeah, right. And so it was definitely, it was a struggle, and it was something that I needed to get through and learn through. And I think going into this off season, I knew like I needed to. We kind of did a little bit of a different throwing program this year, and so far, like my velo's held steady through all my games, and my arm and my body feel really good. And I think it also helps not having to throw 70 fastballs at max effort throughout the game. So right, yeah. I think that also helps. But it's been an adjustment, and it's I'm really happy with where we're at right now.
I live in Tacoma, and I'm all about the action. From making a run at the tables to multiple pay lines on my favorite machines. Game time. The sportsbook is better than being on the 50-yard line or sitting courtside. And I'm here for it. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
The Top Step with Rowland-Smith is presented by EQC, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
The split. Now, Woody tells me that you were basically, not bugging him about it, but bringing it up to him at the end of last year, and he said that he walked down the line. You guys were playing catch, and you were throwing a split, and Woody was like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm just messing with you. Like I'm just messing with a split." Is that true? Is that where it all kicked off?
Yeah, I think one thing I like to do is I see, which they kind of give me attitude about it sometimes, but like I'll watch other pitchers throw, and like if they have success with a pitch, usually I'll be like trying to zoom in on their grip or whatever and see how they throw it, and just I like to kind of mess around in catch play and just see if I can make the ball move in different ways. And so yeah, I remember, Logan was having success with it, and Kirby was having success with the splitter, and I remember I asked him, like, how do you throw that? And then I was just messing around in catch play, throwing it, and I only threw a couple of them, and I think they were horrible. But yeah, Woody's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just trying it out." But that was at the end of last year when I was kind of scrambling, and I think I ended up throwing like 7 pitches last year, and they were all like, a lot of them were brief. Like I'd throw them for 2 weeks, and like there was a 2-week stretch where I was throwing a curveball, and I hadn't thrown a curveball since college. So
yeah. All right, listen, hey, I've kept you too long. This has been a blast, Bryce Miller. I appreciate it. But I do want to ask you, do you want to stick around? I have a brand new contest on the Top Step. It's the How to Speak Australian contest. Do you want to stick around and try and guess what this Australian word is?
Yeah, we could try it. There's probably no chance I get it right. But
all right. Okay, so Bryce is sticking around. He's a special guest for our newest contest here on the Top Step. It is How to Speak Australian, brought to you by the Kangaroo and Kiwi Pub, the one and only Aussie pub in Seattle. That's where I go to get a beer, have some Aussie food with my mates. I might have to drag Bryce Miller and hear more stories about him sneaking off at midnight to go and play catch. Now, the word is, and I'll use it in a sentence as well, Bryce Miller, you can try and guess this, an esky. Do you know what an esky is by any chance?
Esky?
Any guesses?
I'm gonna need a sentence.
Okay, all right. So I'm about to cook a barbie, but I've got my esky sitting by my side. What would that be?
Is it a beer?
Close. Now, I can't give you the answer because if you're watching the show, you can jump in and try and win some giveaways. If you go to if you put the hashtag TTSmate in any post, the one below this when we put it on social media, or you can put it in the comments on YouTube, you can on Twitter, Instagram. Bryce, I don't think you have Twitter, do you? You don't have Twitter. You don't have a Twitter.
I got Twitter.
Oh, you do? Okay. You still? I thought you weren't old enough to have Twitter. I thought you were just straight TikTok. All right, and you can even do it in TikTok. No, I'm kidding. We don't have a TikTok just yet. Maybe I need to get on that. But the word is esky. If you know what it is, hashtag TTSmate. Give us the answers. The most creative answer, by the way, usually sticks out and usually wins. And winners are picked at random, but that does help. So, Bryce Miller, I appreciate it. First of all, that was brought to you by Kangaroo and Kiwi, the one and only Australian pub. It's in Ballard. It's awesome. We're going to have a watch party there later on this year. But, Bryce, man, this has been fun. I really appreciate the time. I didn't want to keep you too long. And, man, it's been fun watching you to start 2024. I didn't think anything less. That's for sure. But, man, it's been fun, especially with that split, too.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. It's been a good time.
All right, special thanks to Bryce Miller for joining us here on the Top Step. Now, if you do want to watch the full-length interview with me and Bryce or any of my guests, go to YouTube, you put in the Top Step TV, go click subscribe, you're supporting the show. All the bonus content is over there, the past episodes. Special thanks to Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. Special thanks to you two for joining us week in, week out. All right, you drongos, go get your esky. Go, have a great weekend. We'll catch you next week right here on the Top Step.